Today's recipe has to be one of my all-time favorite cakes in the world. We are going to end the summer off with my iconic Fraisier or strawberry shortcake. Now, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I was going back and forth for days on whether or not I even wanted to share this recipe, but I gave in because you need this in your life. So this cake is composed of layers of an almond sponge, vanilla cream, and fresh strawberries. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, keep watching. So first things first, we are going to get started on our almond sponge. In the bowl of your stand mixer, we are going to add 150 grams or 3 large eggs, as well as 130 grams or 1 cup of confection sugar, and we are going to whip that on our mixer until it is thick and pale. Then in a separate bowl, we are going to place 112 grams or 1 cup of almond flour, 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of flour. You can use a gluten-free flour blend. Like, God forbid I try to process a thought and speak at the same time. Well, here I'm using a gluten-free flour blend to keep this cake gluten-free, but if you're not worried about keeping it gluten-free, you can use regular flour in this step. We are also going to add in 4 grams or 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 3 grams or half a teaspoon of salt, and whisk that together to blend in all of the ingredients. Now, this sponge uses both mechanical and chemical leavening agents. Mechanical being that we are manually whipping air into those egg whites, and then the chemical leavening agent is baking powder. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, why do we need both in this recipe if they're both leavening agents? And that's because baking powder only works by inflating pre-existing air bubbles. So if you haven't incorporated any air into your base, you might end up with a cake that's dense and has an uneven crumb. So the baking powder is going to work by targeting those air pockets from the eggs and inflating them. So once our dry blend is homogenized and our eggs are thick and pale, we are going to add the dry into the base and begin to gently fold the mixture. Now we can transfer this onto a sheet tray. Keep in mind that I am using a sheet tray that is slightly smaller than a half-size sheet tray, and I will link one in the description below for the exact measurements. We can smooth this sponge out, and then it is going to bake at 325 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. Now let's move on to our cream. This filling is a blend of buttercream and pastry cream, which creates this custardy, rich filling that's kind of lightened by that buttercream. It's absolutely delicious, and it also makes the perfect filling for milföy. So first, let's get started on the pastry cream because that needs to cool down before we can use it. In a pot, we are going to add 240 grams or 1 cup of milk, 60 grams or a 1/4 cup of cream, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean extract or 1 vanilla bean pod. We are going to add this into the pot, and then we are going to place this over medium-low heat. In a bowl, we are going to whisk together 42 grams or 2 tablespoons of sugar and 30 grams or 2 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch, and mix that until there are no lumps. Then we are going to add in 5 large egg yolks. Reserve those egg whites because we are going to use them in the next step. And then whisk that until everything is thoroughly combined and we can begin to temper our mixture. For those of you who might be new here, tempering is a process where we gently heat up the temperature of our eggs to create a silky, smooth custard base. So once our milk begins to steam, we are going to slowly pour half of our milk into the egg yolks while continuously whisking. Then we are going to pour that back into the pot and whisk this vigorously until the mixture begins to thicken and the floury flavor from the cornstarch disappears. This should take about 1 to 2 minutes. Now, whatever you do, do not stop whisking this. If you stop whisking, you can risk burning the base of the pot or making really sweet scrambled eggs. Once our pastry cream is thick and smooth, we can turn off the heat and add in 56 grams or 4 tablespoons of butter, and then transfer this into a bowl, suffocate it with saran wrap, and set it aside to cool completely. You can put this in the refrigerator, or you can put this over an ice bath. Now let's move on to our Swiss meringue buttercream. For the buttercream, we are going to place those 5 egg whites into the bowl of our stand mixer and begin to whip it on low speed. In a pot, we are are going to place 250 grams or 1 1/4 cup of sugar with 60 grams or 1/4 cup of water, or enough water until we have a wet sandy texture. And we're going to place this over medium heat until it reaches 118 degrees Celsius or about 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the sugar reaches about 110 degrees Celsius, we're going to turn our mixer all the way up so that those egg whites can reach a medium peak. The idea here is that our egg whites reach a medium peak right when the sugar reaches temp, but no pressure. If you reach medium peaks before your sugar is ready, you can just turn off the mixer and then wait. Once your sugar is at 118 Celsius, we are going to take it off of the heat and begin to gently pour it against the side of our bowl. This will ensure that the sugar falls gently into the eggs and doesn't hit the whip. If the whip catches the sugar, it's going to spin that hot sugar around and it's going to almost caramelize instantly, and then you're going to have these little beads of sugar in your final product. So then you want to allow this to whip until the base of the bowl feels pretty neutral against your skin. It shouldn't be too hot or too cold. And then we are going to begin to slowly add in 282 grams or 2.5 sticks of butter piece by piece, and after a few minutes of mixing on high, you should have a fluffy buttercream. And once our pastry cream is completely cooled, we can add all of it into the buttercream and just whip it for a few seconds until the mixture is homogenized. And we can begin to assemble. For assembly, we are going to need an 8-inch cake ring that is 2 inches high. You cannot make this cake with anything other than a cake ring, it just won't work. You'll also need a piece of acetate to fit inside of the ring. Acetate is just a flexible piece of plastic. It's going to appear really shiny on the outside of our Fraisier and keep everything kind of composed inside. But if you don't have acetate, you can use parchment paper. Then I am using a cake ring that is slightly smaller than 8 inches, and I'm cutting out 2 pieces of our almond sponge cake. This cake is very delicate, so it's much easier to work with it if you freeze it for a few hours before cutting. Now we are going to place our sponge cake in the center, and we are going to thoroughly wash and dry 1 container of strawberries and begin to cut them into thin slices. Then we can line the ring with strawberry slices. Now I have placed our vanilla cream in a piping bag, and I'm going to pipe a border around the cake. And using an offset spatula, I'm going to begin to paint the cream up the edges. Then we can add an even layer of cream, followed by a layer of strawberries, followed by our second slice of almond cake. Make sure to push that almond cake down so that there is no air pockets, and also make a little bit of room because we have a lot to fit into this little cake. Then I am adding a second layer of cream, followed by more strawberries, and push those berries down so that they don't pop out of the surface of the cake. Make sure that you are wearing gloves or that you have thoroughly washed your hands because your fingers are going to be all up in this cake. Then we are going to cover that with more cream, and using a spatula, we are going to smooth the top of the cake. Now for the decoration, I colored the remainder of our cream this light pink color just to complement the berries, but of course you don't have to color yours. And I am placing that in a piping bag with a round tip, and I'm going to begin to pipe random kisses around the surface of the cake. Then I halved and quartered the remainder of our strawberry slices. Make sure you reserve about 5 to 6 strawberries for this. I am placing them randomly around the cake. Add some gold leaf, and we are all ready to dig in.
He's done miracles on me. Back again, he's done. Back again, he's done miracles. Back again, he's done miracles on me. Back again, I never caught him, y'all.
Okay, you guys, that is it for another recipe. This cake is the perfect way to end off the summer. It's balanced, not too sweet, and full of berry flavor. So if you made it this far into the video, congratulations. We are so close to hitting 1K subscribers. I cannot believe I know 1,000 people. Like, that is so many people. And to thank you guys for all of your support, I want to do a cash giveaway to one winner. I will be sending the winner $100, and I have supporters from all over the world, so I want to make this giveaway as accessible as possible. In order to enter the giveaway, you must be subscribed to my YouTube channel, you must be following me on Instagram, and you have to comment down below what your favorite dessert to make or eat is. In order to claim your prize, you must have access to either Venmo, Zelle, or Cash App, or have access to a Western Union for any of my international supporters. Make sure you have my Instagram notifications on, because once we hit 1K, I'm going to be announcing the winner on Instagram, and I will also be reaching out to the winner on there as well. I am so excited. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. I absolutely love sharing these recipes and interacting with you guys, and we will be doing more giveaways as we hit more milestones. So let's dig in. We really like packed this cake full. Delicious.
He's done miracles
It's so
on
good.
me. I wanna